Taylor Brands is a proud sponsor of the QuEST. For a complete business builder to start, manage, and grow your business, visit taylorbrands.com.
What you believe about yourself on the inside will eventually manifest itself on the outside. And one powerful tool that largely impacts our belief system is storytelling, which is why I'm excited to learn more about our friend Natalie Pipkin and her business, Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore. Join with me as we learn more about how she's sharing stories to help individuals shape their lives.
About 5 years ago, we left the school system. This was not something that I saw in my future as being a home school mom, a home educator. That was actually something my children, they're the ones that voted for that. So at that time, they were kindergarten and third grade. And while there are many reasons that I was frustrated with the school system, they and the school itself, they did what they were supposed to do. They were model students. Even if they didn't love everything that was happening or being taught or how they were being treated, they did what they were supposed to do. One day, my youngest came home. He was 5 at the time. And we always have conversations about what's happening at school and on the ride home, and even, at dinner and things like that, what you learned, what's happening, or maybe I got, notes about what they're learning about. So we're always having to clear things up, like, that's not quite how it went. So let's talk about this before they tell you their version. Let's talk about what really went down. And one day we're about to do that. I can't remember if it was a certain holiday or something that sparked the conversation. And I'm going in my little spiel about this is how it really. 5-year-old said, "Mom, if they're always lying to us, why do you keep bringing us back there?" And I was like, that's what changed everything, because it didn't make any sense. I didn't have an answer for him. I was completely silent. I said, I have no idea. We had things that we were doing and changing. I had parent meetings at my house. I had all kind of things I was doing to spark some change in there. But I also learned from my own frustrations and the work that I was trying to do that I can be louder on the outside. Like, I can't do this work in the belly of the beast. I can't. I'm wearing myself out, and I can put the energy towards my children and my community, myself. And so them having that idea, really, it started getting exciting for me. Like, yes, this makes a lot of sense. It took about maybe 8-9 months before came to that conclusion, like, that this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. And we started exploring world schooling. So world schooling is a form of homeschooling. That's using the world to learn. The world is your classroom kind of idea. It doesn't mean you got to travel, overseas. It could be your own backyard, your museums, the people in your neighborhood. It's just the world around you, learning that way. So we became Black World Schoolers immediately. That's what that was. That's how the name came to be. So as we were leaving, though, they're like, what about the kids that are still here? And we're like, we're going to stay connected, like, easy. And so we didn't know what that was going to look like. We just knew that we were going to stay connected. So we left, immediately started a blog and our Instagram page, just kind of sharing our journey and what, just the process of learning how to do this and what we were going to do. The tagline was, for the Black children who are inside the classrooms and outside the curriculum, we love you, we see you, welcome home. So we're blogging, we're, doing the homeschool, world schooling thing, traveling, meeting other Black homeschoolers, building community, sharing resources and all those things. And then pandemic comes, so we're not traveling anymore, and all those things. But it was really exciting times because everybody became homeschoolers. So all these resources and all these funny looks we were getting, and like, how's she gonna do this? And what is she doing? People are like, how do you do it? What can we do? What can, So then we immediately created a website. The same website we have today that's our bookstore was just a resource site, a free resource site, blackworldschoolers.com. So all these free resources that were African centered, Black history centered, were all in one spot now for people who are now finding themselves at home. At the same time, I created a storytime hotline. So an 800 number our kids could call 24 hours a day, hear a story, quote of the day, and a fact. It's a Black history fact. That's how it was, like parts 1, 2, or 3 kind of thing. So we started that at the same time. So that was like March, April, right when kids got sent home, was like immediately we did that. When we came home, we were traveling and visiting bookstores and visiting different places and building our own home library. We built a home library that looks like this bookstore. So Black authors, Black stories, all genres, and they became flashlight under the cover readers. Like they fell in love with reading. I, till this day, don't have to ask them to read. And I'm like, if that's true for them, that could really be true for all children. And so that idea of the bookstore really sparked then. And so, yeah, so during pandemic, that gave me time to really explore what this looks like. So the Storytime Hotline was part of me knowing like stories were a big part of how we're living and learning and how our children are growing and gaining confidence and knowledge and joy. So, okay, Storytime Hotline, that I'm getting somewhere. I didn't know I was getting to a bookstore, but I'm getting somewhere. Storytime Hotline. I remember doing like a book drive on Instagram saying, oh, hey, there's this center with teens. Let's raise $500 and I'm going to get them books to put in, because they don't have, a bookshelf in there. And I think anywhere where there's youth, there should be books. So like in an hour, people donated and then we bought books and we put them there. So that was another thing. I'm like, books, stories. That was like June. Probably like late summer bike ride. I was just riding a bike and I'm like, a mobile bookstore. It just kind of like came to me in that way. And from that moment on, I was like tunnel vision. And nobody understood why I was buying a 12-passenger shuttle bus that said somebody's retiring on the side in the middle of the winter in Indiana with no business plan, no sketch, no nothing. Like it's all in my head. I didn't know how I was going to design it. I didn't know anything. I just knew that it was going to be exciting. It was going to be, the stories that my children love, that I love. It's going to make it accessible. And I knew that it was going to happen. I just didn't know how and all the details, but I just knew it was going to be a mobile bookstore.
I know you feel it, but keep believe. They don't stop it now. They talking crazy, control all belief. Give them something to see, believe. They don't stop it now. They don't stop it. They don't stop me. Oh, oh, oh. They don't stop it now.
Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore is a very unique concept. You take a bus, you take a bookstore, and you combine the two of them. What stood out to me the most wasn't necessarily what they do, but it's why they do it. And after you spend just a few minutes with Natalie, you'll get a clear picture of the meaning behind her efforts.
Feeling well. How are you doing?
Excellent. Listen, I'm inspired, I'm intrigued, and I'm extremely curious to know more about the mission that you're working towards. So in your words, explain to me, what is the Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore?
Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore is a one-of-a-kind bookstore on wheels, sharing stories that uplift Black life, Black heritage, and Black joy. So our mission is to create access and awareness to Black stories, as well as excitement and engagement around reading. So
Okay.
that's why you see what you see, like
Yeah.
an ice cream truck with, you know, but it's a bookstore. A bookstore's ice cream truck energy. So
And you got that ice cream truck feel, right?
Yeah,
You got the
speakers
speakers out
and
there
the-
on the front of it,
yeah.
so the kids can hear you coming
Yeah.
down the street.
Right.
So you guys founded this when?
Black Worldschoolers, we became an online store December 2020,
Okay.
and then launched the bookstore on wheels June of 2022.
Okay. Okay. So looking at it though, I mean, this isn't necessarily a new concept. There's many bookstores that are mobile, but it's an emerging concept. I'm curious to know, like, as you were developing this idea, how are you able to kind of put the pieces to this puzzle together when there really wasn't that many references to kind of like look at or examples to kind of leverage off of?
Yeah, you're right. There are not a lot of examples. I mean, bookmobiles, as far as libraries, they've always existed. I mean, for a long time, and there are some different mobile bookstore models. But the design that I came up with was really shaped around my mission. So I didn't want to be a space where people just walk through and left. Like, I wanted to feel like a store that you could sit down, you know, browse if it's not crowded, right? Have the store experience, but we're bringing the bookstore to you. And then the design, although I had not seen it, I knew that through like all the pop-ups I was doing, the shelves that you'll see inside, like I had smaller versions of that I was using as displays at pop-ups. And I liked seeing the things that I liked using and seeing when I was doing pop-ups. I wanted to incorporate that into the bus model.
Okay.
But the main thing was I wanted to keep people engaged and keep them wanting to stay on the bus for a little while, and wanted to just create a really unique experience versus just a bus that has books on it. So
you design every aspect of the bus,
inside and out.
like you got interior design background or
No,
something, or you just kind of.
I just had a vision for this. That's it.
Can you
Yeah.
kind of describe that process? I mean, I'm quite
Yeah.
sure it's like difficult trying to figure out how you're going to utilize the space, you know, how you're going to make a space where people can kind of flow through and still get the overall experience.
I can't say that it's difficult. It was difficult. It's just, it took time to have that aha moment, right? At each moment. So maybe on the outside for people, it's like, what's she gonna do? But for me, I knew that, you know, this vision took me from here to here, and then the next steps are gonna come. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much hard to think it up. It's just being patient with myself, patient with the process, knowing that as I'm developing, when I need the next steps, they're gonna come.
Okay. Like this bus started out just as an empty bus that wasn't being used. Can you kind of walk through that
Yeah.
entire process?
Yeah, I mean, we found this bus like in Mooresville, Indiana. It was formerly a retirement home bus, so it had seats in it and everything. So the first thing for me to catch the vision, I had to clear it out, and I did that immediately. So this bus was sitting with seats probably for just like a month before I just got them ripped out, so I could start envisioning what this really could be.
Okay.
So yeah, it had seats in it before we got those ripped out, and then it was empty for like a year and a half. So it took me a while to really make plans solid, because
To
once you put them
solidify
in
the
there,
idea.
you can't. I mean, I could think of all kind of ideas, but for me to say yes, let's do this, I took my time.
Yeah, you gotta commit to it once
Yeah,
you
gotta
get started.
commit. Yeah, so yeah.
So you went from a bus that you purchased, and then you completely gutted it out,
right.
and then you came up with the designs, and then after that, like
And nothing fancy. I'm talking like grid paper and like measurements and like, oh, this is how big my, setup is when I pop up. It's this big. How can I make it this big? And
Okay.
you know what I mean? And this is how our shelves work at home, and the kids like that. How can I add that? Or if I'm traveling, will this rattle? If I'm traveling, how can I make it more like a store? Oh, I'll put wood floors in it, or I'll put some fold down shelves so I can, have some other elements that are
Yeah.
unique. Or I need storage, so I'll make my bench a storage so I can travel further and have more books when I'm going places. So again, around the mission, but just trying to think of every little detail, which I can't, even as I've been a year in with the bus. Now I'm going to take it in the fall and say, okay, I want to add this, tighten this up,
right.
take this away, you
Yeah.
know, so.
So, I mean, it sounds as if, like, the way you're describing that, there's a lot of strategy that's involved as you were implementing, of course, the positioning of certain shelves, the way it's structured internally, and I believe it's really tying into the overall experience that you're aiming to create
Right, exactly.
for individuals and customers that walk through
Absolutely.
the bus. Can you kind of describe what that experience is? What do you want people to feel when they step into the bus?
I want them to feel like they're in a store, number one. I don't want them to, because a lot of times people say, oh, what is that? They can't, even though it says here, like, what is that? I'm like, you have to come in because you're never going to get it. If
Yeah.
you don't come in, they come in, they're shocked every time, all the time. They're shocked. So I want them to feel like it's a store, first and foremost. But I won't say first and foremost. I want everybody to feel like it's a store, but I want Black children, Black people in general to feel like, oh, she made this for us. Like, I do. And everybody else gets to benefit from that and be a part of that celebration of us. But I want people to come in and say, oh my, like, these are not just, like, she didn't just throw some books in here. Like, she's really in here,
There's
know,
intention,
there's so much intention and the design and the curation and everything. And
I had the bus sitting there for months before I got one of those like grid pads, those grid sheets, whatever they're called, you know what I'm talking about, and like sketched out what I wanted it to look like. And I cannot draw. I mean, I'll take a basic sketch. I was finally like, okay, this is what I want it to look like. I didn't just do crowdfunding and say, okay, now do whatever you want. Like, I designed every piece of this with intention, every single piece, inside and out. And it took me some time to do that, and people had to be patient with that. Like, people, wanted it to see it like come like this. I'm like, nope, not yet. I don't see it yet.
You kind of explain to me the process of you selecting the genres of books that you have here to offer here on the bus.
Absolutely. So 99% of the books that you see are all written by Black authors from around the world, some even local, some even bilingual as well.
Nice.
And then we start with baby board books. Picture books will be next up, then middle grade chapter books, young adult chapter books, and then adult books are fully in this section.
What was the, I guess, philosophy or mindset around really creating this niche where it's all about Black stories, Black authors, and promoting Black history?
Well, a lot of people don't know, and I don't want to get the percentages wrong, but you can look it up. But something like 80% of the books that you see that have Black faces on the front are not written by Black people. So that doesn't mean we don't have any books. We have thousands and thousands of books. I can fill this up over and over with new books, and you'd be able to choose something different every time. But I wanted to make sure that the stories I was sharing were being told by the people from that community, and supporting Black authors. Like, this being intentional about every step. You can be buying Black from me, but am I buying Black too?
Yeah.
So just for that reason, making sure our stories are told correctly.
Yeah.
We started this, we were homeschoolers first. We were Black Worldschoolers, which is just a homeschooling community. And I remember getting a book right after Kobe died. And it was one of those Who Was series, kind of books with the big heads on them.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think my kids have a couple of those books.
Yeah, you have younger kids too, so I know like these.
Yeah,
like the Who Was.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Who Was, it was right when I was getting ready to open an online store. A Who Was about Kobe came out, and since we had been homeschooling, a lot of the books that I first started curating for pop-ups and to get ready for online, we had already read for over those 3, 4, 5 years. So I knew what was in there as far as content. When it came to adding books to the store, I was a little careful. I'm like, let me read some of these things. I don't want to just throw stuff in there because it's a Black story or because it's a popular person. And when I opened it up and I read it, because they're not very thin, very thick, so I read it pretty quickly. And it wasn't written by a Black author. It had a whole 2-3 pages about his alleged rape case in a children's book for ages 8 to 12.
Wow.
So that's why it's important who tells our story. It's important that even not just as a bookseller, but as adults, parents, in children's lives, that we're reading what's coming into, because you can be easily fooled. So.
Yeah, I love the intentionality behind controlling the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And making sure the narrative is being represented in its accurate state.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears very quickly because I know as you were developing the bus and putting the concept together, piecing the puzzle of this idea together, one thing that you did to help raise funds and raise capital was an unconventional approach where you did some crowdfunding.
Right.
Right. And of course, this is it's a common practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's emerging now as well.
Mm-hmm.
But not too many people understand what's really involved and entailed
Mm-hmm.
in that type of like capital raising method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of explain that process behind you raising the funds and creating that crowdfunding campaign?
Yeah. So I applied for my very first grant about 6 months after launching the online store.
Okay.
And the very first grant I applied for, I won it. And part of that package, once we enter the program, was that they'll match up to a certain amount that you crowdfund.
Okay.
But a good part of this program was because I had no intentions of crowdfunding. So that was a concept for me as well. I didn't have much knowledge about it. And also, that wasn't something that I was interested in, I thought originally. But what they provided also was a company called Crowdfund Better. And we were in months of classes multiple times a week and one-on-ones and all kinds of things to learn how to crowdfund successfully. So crowdfunding is happening, and it's, crowdfunding is GoFundMe's and, all those different sites. People have been crowdfunding for a while, and with minor things, with personal things, with business things, but they taught us how to crowdfund correctly so that we're successful the first time.
Okay.
And so even though the process of learning that was challenging, you're maintaining a business and a family in your life and
wearing many different hats.
All the hats, and also in class now to learn how to, launch the biggest funding of probably, my business career.
Yeah.
Going through the classes with Crowdfund Better through that program made the crowdfunding successful, but it was still very challenging because of all I had to learn in a short amount of time to be successful at that. Because it's because you were in the program and you went through the classes doesn't mean you automatically be successful. You have to implement everything you learned and then stay the course. Because when you're crowdfunding, there are days where there's no one, donating, and there are days where it's like you think you're almost there, then it's so it's like the ups and downs of that, and also trying to still remember after this is over, I still have to build and create and do, because it kind of puts that part puts it on pause a little bit, because the crowdfunding successfully takes every piece of you.
The only grant I applied for, and I got it, and that helped fund the inside renovation of the bus. And after that, it was still just our own, own earnings to get the outside wrapped, and then all the details that I didn't know I wanted on the bus paid for, right? So it was a huge help, and not just the help that the money itself brought to be able to, to make the dream come alive much, much quicker. The community that we continue to build through the crowdfunding, I think, was more valuable even than just the money itself.
What would you say was like the biggest thing that you can kind of reflect on and say, this is what made our campaign successful? Because this is something that many people, again, they may not be aware of it, and they have what it takes to start a successful campaign, but don't necessarily know, hey, this is a strategy that you should implement and that you should put in place as you're looking to raise capital. But like reflecting on that, what would you say was maybe like the biggest thing, or maybe a few things that kind of stood out that helped you share your story to the point that people wanted to contribute to your mission?
First, like I said, having guidance into what crowdfunding really is, and the timing of when to execute, and who to contact, and those things definitely were helpful. But personally, I think it was also already having a platform. We already had built trust with people through having we weren't selling anything, but we had a platform, and then also evidence. Like, this is an extension of what was already happening at home. So people have watched my children grow up through this.
It was already in motion.
Yeah, but we didn't know we were going to have a bookstore. So seeing the evidence of it, and also through we're doing pop-up shops. I already bought a bus, so I didn't come to the crowdfunding like, hey, give me everything. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but just give me some things because I have a really great idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a bus. We're online. We're popping up here, and here. You know what I mean? We have pictures of people who are buying from us and who are excited. We have reviews and all kind of things are happening. So they see it like, oh, if she had this, then she really,
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot of evidence that this is not only does it work, but we're really committed to this business, to this mission, and to the community.
I love the point that you make where you say there's evidence, right? Because you demonstrated a concept that lived in your mind, but even though you didn't have everything that you thought you needed, you still used what you had and put these pieces to this puzzle
Right.
together. And when people are looking on the outside in, because they see that motion, now it's like, I want to support that. I want to
Yeah.
contribute to
I wanna
that,
be a
rather
part
than
of
just
this-
saying,
of
this is an
history.
idea.
Yeah, I
right?
wanna be part of
have this
history.
concept that I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
right? There's this actual thing that we're currently building.
Yes.
And that, I think, is what makes individuals more eager to kind of invest in that idea.
Absolutely. And people would, I mean, there's people from all over the world who donated. And even before I had a crowdfunding, there's people who were donating. I wasn't asking for anything.
Nice.
And that was because they're like, I want to be a part of history. Like, you're about to make history. I've never seen something like this. Or is this the first in the state? Is this the first in the Midwest?
Yeah.
Is there anything else like this? And people didn't, that's what they wanted. They're like, I want to say that I supported this. I was a part of this.
The community built this. Like the Drew and Lauren Holiday, that grant helped partially. Then half of that was community who gave their money, right? Whether it was $5 or $500, right? And these are people who are already buying books, people who are like, I need you to exist. I need you to be here. I need this to happen, and who are still here. So I think that was so important to see and to be able to say today that the community built this. So when people say like, are Black people going to buy books, or you have an audience? I'm like, they built this. So yeah.
To that point, right? Like, what you have built is something very amazing, right? It's extraordinary.
Thank you.
It is a jewel for our community, because not only are you promoting Black history, you're encouraging individuals to learn more about Black stories and amplifying Black authors, but you're also enhancing literacy, right? Encouraging individuals to read, to discover themselves within these stories, right? And literacy is tied to many things that society is struggling with right now, right? Unemployment, individuals that may be lacking the educational background that they need to advance further in their careers. What you're doing is a great service. How does that make you feel, knowing that your business, the bus that you have built, and the concept that you have literally put together brick by brick is making an impact, not just on the surface, but at the core in our community?
As a business owner, I don't really sit back and think about that. I mean, I don't, because you're just in it. But if I have to think about it, I mean, my kids think about it more than I do.
What do your kids say about it?
They're like, can you believe this? Can you believe you're doing this? Can you, like those kind of things. But and they're very proud all the time. I mean, if I really sit and think about it, it's an honor to serve my community. But it's also like, I feel like our community is owed this. And I'm grateful to be the vessel that is being told to do it.
Yeah.
But we deserve this. There should be no lack in our history, our stories, in access to anything to become great. So I shouldn't even have to exist, but I'm glad I do, and I'm glad that I'm being received in great ways. So.
Okay. So looking in the future, where's Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore
Everywhere.
going? Okay. Is that the vision?
Yeah, and I don't mean in a bus. I think that the bus is one way, and we're able to, our bus can be booked within a 350-mile radius as of now, maybe further later, but we've been as far as Nashville. So like, this is one part, but I think what people are recognizing with us is that we just do things differently. We're unique. So I see myself being unique in many spaces. Maybe it's a bus here, but maybe soon there'll be self-service kiosk in local or businesses and museums where people can get a taste of how we curate in different spaces, and I don't have to be there.
Okay.
More partnerships with schools and youth-centered organizations that are strictly coming to us because of our mission and what we curate and how we curate.
And that's your current business model now, right?
What?
You go to a lot of events, organizations.
Yeah, people book our bus,
okay.
and there's packages, and
Can you explain what those packages are?
yeah. So, well, you know what? People book our bus and they create whatever.
It's customized.
Yeah, because it's customized. Everything's customized because every event is so different. We've been at schools, we've done family reunions, birthday parties. We've been in the airport hangar. So nothing ever looks the same, but we do have a base package base price, and then there's travel fees when we're traveling outside of Indianapolis.
Okay.
So
you got to maintain this bus. As it's on the move.
and it's an experience. So I was popping up before I had tables, and I was taking almost not the full bus, but sometimes maybe the full bus. I don't know, but I took a lot of books out.
You boxed all these books up.
Oh
and
yeah, and you're putting
pop-ups.
the tent, you're putting the tables, and this is no one paying me to be there. This is me paying to be somewhere.
That's commitment.
Yeah, and setting all this up and then breaking all this down. So at that time, I was strictly vending. Now, I know, and you know now, how much I've poured into this, and not just financially, but talking about the intention of how it's designed. It's an experience. This is equivalent to a video game truck, to a ice cream truck, to when you're getting your bounce houses and your ponies at events. This is something that enhances what you're doing, and also brings the experience no one else can experience unless you bring, they come here. So we have the packages, and you bring us out through booking the bus, because it's an experience, and we invested in our community through creating this, and you're investing in us by bringing us out and purchasing from us and those kind of things. So does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, just looking around, y'all not playing no games whatsoever,
Yeah,
right? Like, I
so-
can definitely see how you put love and purpose behind every single thing that you have placed in here, from the nuts, the bolts, the wood, the seats, the shelves, everything. It is literally legit, right?
Thank you.
It's legit. And this is something that you should be proud of. Again, not only because you've built it, but of course the impact that you're continuing to make within our community.
And we've built it. That's the great part about crowdfunding. Like, I took it so far, but this interior was able to happen because of crowdfunding. So we've built it, and so we maintain it, and we keep it here, and we grow it.
I was gonna wrap it up, but that you bring up an interesting point right there, right? Like, what you literally did was demonstrated leadership, right? Leadership is a transfer of belief, so to speak, right? Where you believe in something, you believe in an idea, you believe in a vision, and ultimately you expressed and shared that vision with others, and now they're enrolled, right? And they're enrolled to the point that they're willing to come out of pocket and spend their hard-earned money on an idea that doesn't exist, but they believe in what it is that you have to offer and what you can create. How does that make you feel as a business owner? There's someone that may not even know you, right? They're on the other side of the nation, or maybe even the other side of the country or the world, right? And they say, I believe in an idea. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it makes me feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and that every single day I wake up, I need to remember that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how tired I am, no matter how it may seem, that there's a bunch of people who believed in me, and those people still exist, and that's my fuel and my reason.
Come on now, you talking that talk. That's purpose-driven mentality right there, where you understand that it's bigger than you. And even in those moments when you doubt yourself, there's other people that believe in you in spite of, right? So again, phenomenal work, Natalie.
Thank
the best
you.
is yet to come. I can't wait to see what's going to unfold in the very near future. I see mobile bookstores all across the nation, traveling from Texas to Florida to North Carolina to Maine to New York. And you started it here in Indianapolis, Indiana, to serve your community, and it's making a difference.
Thank
Phenomenal
you.
work.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
As a business owner, you wear a number of different hats. You have marketing, accounting, finance, and all of the logistics to create your products or deliver your services. And now we, of course, have social media, which can often be overwhelming for many small business owners. And Natalie expressed that this is one of her challenges and struggles. She finds it very difficult to develop a social media strategy. So I invited my great friend, Mario Armstrong. He's an entrepreneur, Emmy Award-winning host, and a content creator. He's worked with many iconic entrepreneurs such as Richard Branson, Damon John. He has his amazing community online, the Never Settle Club. And ultimately, his focus is on helping individuals share their stories and also create a business model around their passions. Mario shared a number of different strategies and tools that Natalie can begin to use to not only connect with her audience, but also create more business opportunities. Mario, my brother, great day to you, man. How you feeling today, sir?
E1 is in the building. It's a pleasure, man. It's always good to be on with you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to work with Natalie and really help elevate her business to the next level.
Absolutely, brother. Well, check this out, man. This is Natalie Pipkin, the founder, creator, owner, and operator of Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore. Now, one thing that she's aiming to improve with her business is helping to spread her message, right? And of course, in the modern times that we live in now, social media is a great tool for us to demonstrate what we have to offer, provide value to certain communities, and build our business. But of course, navigating the realms, the algorithms, and creating content can be very, very challenging. And I know this is your expertise. What type of insights or strategies would you share with Natalie to help her create a social media strategy to help build her business?
So my first question before I start giving you strategies, because I got a bunch of ideas, but we need to hone these ideas down to the priorities that's also going to give you return on your effort, not just return on investment, but return on your effort. So what is the main goal for you in terms of building your business? What types of deals, contracts, more kind of business would you like to see coming in?
Let me see. I think what we've done a good job with is building community in general, whether that's online or offline. But as far as building business, I feel like once I launched the bus, I really don't advertise our online store. So that's where you see sales going down, just simply online, where that's what I primarily did for the first year. And I don't advertise that at all. So building the online sales, but also being able to because since we do a lot of community stuff, I don't want to be on there like buy this, buy this, buy that. But I want people to understand who may not visit the website, who just go on social media, how the bus works as far as the rental process, and also what we offer as far as bulk ordering, and getting more contracts with schools. We do have contracts with schools in other cities and locally and things like that. So just building contracts with schools, the fact that we do author events, like all these things just have been happening and they've been rolling, but I want to get a hold of being able to advertise that. So not expecting it to always roll like this, because it's just happening. Everything is just happening, but I want to get control of it so that I know that if there ever was a down season or something, I'm not waiting for a down season. It's going to keep rolling.
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing to say, because what I'm hearing is that you're looking for some structure to go along with the social. So we want some real reason why we're doing this. The beautiful thing about your situation, again, is that you're in the community and you're physical. The downside could be that you can only take the mobile bookstore, but so far. So you've also identified, hey, we go online, but your online sales are dropping. So we're going to teach you today. I'm going to give you some tactics today that's going to help you utilize your social, even though it's local, but you're going to use that to also build the business global. So the first thing that comes to mind is that we need to create what I call a hero video. A hero video is a 90-second highlight reel of what your business and your mobile bookstore is about. In that mobile bookstore, bookstore highlight video reel, we're going to see things like what you do, why you do it, so some of the authors and the selection, the types of books that you have. You're going to see kids reading. You're going to see adults reading. You're going to see book signings. We're going to see pictures. I want to get a full understanding in 90 seconds as to what you do. And in that 90-second reel, we're going to remind people you can buy everything that you see here online on our site. And then you're going to pin that to your IG profile. This is a specific strategy for IG, but this video reel is going to be helpful for any conversation, partnership, or collaboration. So what I mean, I don't know, are you familiar with pinned comment, pinned post on IG?
Yes.
Okay. Because I noticed that you didn't have any now, which is great. Because
Call me out.
So you know what they are, but they ain't up yet. So, but that's good, because maybe you haven't sat to think as to what makes sense. A pinned post on our IG profile means it will always stay there. You can do up to 3. So it can always be, no matter what else you're posting for that day or next week, those 3, you have the ability to control the narrative.
So question, I've done that on occasion, but I didn't know if I have pinned post and I'm putting a new post, will that keep people from seeing the new post Like, you know,
Not at all.
okay, like
Yep,
first,
and that's a misconception. That's why a lot of people take the pin down.
yes,
Yes.
that's me.
No. It stays up there. They'll still see everything is normal. It's just that when anytime someone comes to your profile, they see that first.
But in the feed, my new stuff is still being on there.
Feed, you're still fine. That's right. That's right. So we're looking at every time somebody finds out about you. Oh, well, who's the Black Worldschoolers Mobile? Who's that? And then they go to your profile. You want the first thing to see be, here's what I do. Here's who we are. If you need an example, just go to mine, at Mario Armstrong. When you get a chance, go to at Mario Armstrong, and you'll see that the very first one is, what do I do?
Okay.
It's a great way to explain and control the narrative, and it's a piece of social that is useful over and over and over again for any new audience that's coming to you, to really get a full understanding as to all your suite of services and everything that you do and how they can invest in you. Then the next thing would be, or buy from you. And then the next thing would be, you get 2 more to pin. So I want you to look at what have been the most popular posts. Pin those. If you don't have anything else yet to pin, because you have 2 other slots where you can, again, control the narrative so people get to learn about you. So does that strategy make sense?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Definitely.
Okay, good. The next one is, I need more video from you, less pictures. You take a lot of pictures and you post a lot of pictures, but the algorithm is rewarding you on video. So we want to do more video. So, and I've seen that you have some video, but we want more video. So second thing is, especially on IG and using IG Reels. That brings me to a third strategy. I think you should be doing live story time from the mobile unit. And what I mean by that is picking a day of the week where you know your target audience is most likely going to be available to be able to watch a live reading. So this is you saying, okay, y'all, every Monday, 7 p.m. From Black Worldschoolers Mobile, we do our live storytelling. And this week we're featuring, books for kids or whatever the theme may be. And so grab your kids, come around and watch. And here's what I want you to do. If you were to do this strategy live, so you set up a little tripod, put your phone on the tripod, grab some earbuds. Don't make this expensive. Grab some earbuds and then go live, do your book reading from the mobile unit. But then I want you to invite the author on to the IG Live.
I love that.
Because what that's going to do is bring their audience into that live. And so their audience is going to be like, wait, who's Black Worldschoolers Mobile? And no matter where the author lives, doesn't matter, because during that conversation, you're going to say, and this book you can get right on our online, as well as however many you got in the library, other 10,000 other books and titles that we have, blah, 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 blah. So I think really committing to a day of the week where you're going to do consistent, this makes it easy for you. People will start to set an appointment schedule of wanting to bring their family to this. You could start to invite other people as special guests to this. But I think it should be you reading something and having a special guest, because the whole idea is you want to bring other people's audience to your profile, to your live.
I love it.
I love that strategy because, to your point, Mario, again, it's a collaborative effort where you're now leveraging the authors network and their community, and it's building awareness around Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore, right? Where here his community is aware of his work, but now they're being exposed to what you're doing, and now other authors are now exposed because you're showcasing a number of different authors.
Yes.
And you're an entire online platform.
Yeah, I love it. And I have to do that because I'm not allowed to read their stories if they're with a major publisher. So I can contact the publisher or contact the author directly, and we'd have to do it anyway. So it's perfect platform to do that on. So
It's easy. It's low cost production. You don't have to worry about a bunch of lights and all this. I mean, just make sure it looks good, right? And we can hear you well. So you're going to want to try to control that as much as possible. But it's great. It's like they don't have to go to a studio. They don't have to, they can do it right from their phone. So it really makes it very accessible for a lot of authors to say yes to that. And then my next tip would be, speaking of authors, you get some great ones popping up at the bookstore. You do some signings, you got pictures with them. What I want you to do is not be thinking about tagging them. That's fine that you post and tag them. What I really want you to do is I want you to grab their phone. Hey, let's take a picture with your phone of you here. Can you post this and tag us?
Okay.
You really want to ask them to post on their page and ask them, or could you shoot a quick video of why you're here, or grab their phone and say, do you mind if we shoot a quick video of you talking to your followers about why you're here, what you're doing? If they're an author, they don't mind promoting, right? So you grab their phone, you shoot it, they get it done, and you say, okay, could you post that? Like really put them on the spot to try to really post to drive more attention to your business. And y'all, you can buy this book online.
Right.
Constantly driving that call to action, but you're giving value. The same thing with the book readings. That's giving constant value. You will be one of the preeminent places where people will know if you want to hear stories from Black authors, she's the woman that's doing it Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern time every single week. And with that being said, you're going to remind people, if you're in the Indianapolis area, you know that you could go ahead and rent the vehicle. If you know somebody in the school system, maybe you got a cousin or a nephew or a family member that lives here, tell them about us. We can do birthday parties, da-da-da. Do not do these lives without a call to action.
And even you're broadening your network because, again, you're getting exposed to people in different cities. What's the furthest that you've traveled with the bus?
Nashville.
Right? So even in the whole region, right? You got Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Louisville, all these different areas. And now you're being exposed to people that are in these cities, and you may be traveling to even further than Nashville. Just leveraging that strategy.
Yeah, I love
And I'm sure for the right amount, you'll bring it out.
For the right amount. Look, that's the slogan. That's why I kind of watched that when I was.
For the right amount, we'll bring it out. It's no hesitation.
You got to trademark that one, Mario. For the right amount, we'll bring it out.
Oh my goodness. No,
I think that that's a really smart play for you. I also think that there could be an opportunity for you to create your own tour. And so by thinking of this is really bigger than social. It's a revenue generating model for you, but you're going to use social as a part of supporting it. So the idea would be to put together a media kit or a one sheet that would basically say, we're going to take our mobile bookstore and we're going to take it on tour. And we're going to these 5 cities. And you can make it within the reason of what's drivable for you right now. But it's going to sound bigger than you just saying, I'm going to Nashville or I'm going to Chicago. No, we're going on a 5-city tour. And then for that 5-city tour, I want you to hit up brands that make sense to align with you, that would want to sponsor the tour. So maybe you get a food sponsor. Maybe you get a water sponsor or somebody that can supply stuff that you need at the mobile bookstore where you are going to be in all these cities. So now this is brought to you by Evian Water, or it's brought to you by Uber Eats, who's delivering food or what have you. So I haven't thought that fully through, but I know that that's something that we teach clients how to do this all the time. How do you take your content and turn it into brand sponsorable moments so that you can get additional revenue that you would have never even seen before? So while you're still out with your buzz, still selling, doing your thing, now you have a corporate deal that's already paid you X amount of thousands of dollars to show up in these different cities. And they just need their product to be on site and you to talk about that. And when that happens, you're then going to use social media to follow the behind the scenes of the tour. And that's how you would use social media to kind of promote what you're doing and the good that you're doing for the community.
That's actually written down. So the fact that you're saying that means I need to talk to you after this is over so we can actually make it happen. Because that's the thing. That's the ultimate goal, is that people do want us to go all the way to DC. They do want us to go all the way to Tulsa. They want us to go to Detroit. But I'm like, if you're paying me to go to this one space, it makes more sense to have all these stops along the way. So either you get somebody, we get work together, get sponsors on the way, so I can just make a tour, or I just need to get somebody to cover everything so you don't even have to pay. We get a whole nother corporate sponsor to get us there and back, to stop at different neighborhoods and schools or events, whatever's happening, north, south, east, west, different parts of the year. So yeah, we need to strategize.
That's right. Yeah, because festivals need you. Arts and entertainment festivals need you. Cultural festivals, food festivals need you. You are so unique. The Congressional Black Caucus, when they do their yearly annual big event in DC, they should have you out to DC. So you're absolutely right. That is a whole other revenue generation for you that can really give you consistent profitability. Part of how you're going to get that notoriety is how you use social now.
Okay.
So if you use social now to really show, that's why that highlight reel is very important, because that highlight reel shows the full capability and possibilities of what someone can do and imagine doing with you. And then 2, having that IG Live series gives a destination for people to start talking word of mouth about. It's almost like you're having your own podcast, but you're going to do it visually because you have a beautiful visual bookstore that's mobile. And we want that as the backdrop of the set. I want you in the middle of that reading, after you're done that reading, to be like, you know what, y'all, hold on one second, talking to the phone. You know what, y'all, hold on one second. Let me go grab this other book. And you because you have them captive. Yeah. And you're bringing the author's audiences to that particular IG Live, which then expands your reach. And so I think the combination of having that hero video, doing the IG Live consistently with special guests, and then creating more video behind the scenes when you have time to do so, will all start to elevate who you are. And that's going to start creating more opportunities for you. My last thing that I would say, to be very strategic about making money, but also business sense with social, you need to have an automated system that helps on the back end. And I'm not talking about the content creation. That can be enough work in and of itself. But what I am talking about is if you used a tool like I use a company called ManyChat, ManyChat, MANY chat. And so in ManyChat, when I do a post, I can say in the video, or I could even say in the caption, type a particular keyword, and then they will receive a DM with whatever you want them to have. It could be a message, it could be a link. So in your case, if someone was watching a video of yours and you said, type in online in the comments and we'll send you the link to the bookstore, all they got to do is type the word online in the chat, and then bingo, in their DMs, they're going to get a link to your bookstore that they can click and then go to it.
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
What's the name of that website again, Mario?
It's called ManyChat.
Okay.
ManyChat. Okay.
So you can come up with all types of other ways and things that you can do. So I have things where if someone types the word call, that means they're going to book a call with me. They're going to get a link to my calendar where they can book a call with me. Okay. If they want to get one of my free resources, they type the word in free and they're going to get free resources. Right now I have one for podcasters. If you're doing something in podcasting and you want to learn, type the word podcast, you're going to get a link to my upcoming Zoom meeting and webinar on podcasting. So whatever it is, you can drive the actual ROI through. And when when so many comments just got that keyword in it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is working.
Right.
Is this working on all platforms? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook Live?
That's a really good question. I only use it on Instagram, and I believe you can use it in Instagram and Facebook. I don't know of an automation for YouTube yet.
Okay.
As far as the algorithm, you were saying is just in general about scheduling like a certain day to do a live story time or do this and do that. When it comes to posting in general, do I need to have certain days or times that I post? Is that a real thing or not?
It's a real thing to your audience. It's not a real thing to what seems to be the best time to post.
Right. Okay.
For who, for what? What's the best time to post for your audience to get access to? Like the live is going to be way more specific. Post as much as you can.
Okay.
But just post quality, but just post as much as you can. But I'd rather you really with the live, I want you to really think, when are people most available to want to tune in? Is this a bedtime thing? Is this an after dinner thing? What is this a Saturday afternoon thing? Like what's going to be best for your audience to more than likely give you access to the authors as well as access to an audience?
So almost treat them like a show.
Yeah.
You know, you're having a program that's going to be aired and broadcast at a specific time. And then it gets people excited. You know, they map it out on their schedule and they're sitting down with the kids, the family, and then just diving into the stories that you're sharing.
D1 hit it perfectly, by the way. Treat this like a show. If you treat it like a show, it's going to feel like that. And it's going to also elevate you. You're going to be thinking differently about how to produce it. You're going to be thinking differently about how people are receiving it. as opposed to just randomly going live. If you up it just a little bit, you're also going to have better production quality and value. Just because you have that intentionality in your mindset about it is going to make it feel and look a little bit different than everything else that's just out there. Okay. So he's spot on to treat it that way. And then I would also think about it at some point, this is going to be something that you're going to do live with events. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that this could become its own brand in a way where live story time with Black World Schoolers becomes something that happens as a live thing. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? Absolutely. And then every time you do something live and you bring people together, that's an opportunity not only for you to sell the books, but that's an opportunity for you to get brands to sponsor, because anytime you're bringing a group of people together, that's an opportunity for an aligned brand, a brand that makes sense. That's an opportunity for you to also bring this opportunity to that brand to see if they want to get in front of your audience.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So before, you did say it would be low cost. So what are some low cost tools that I should have to elevate the production of the beginning of this? Like,
great question. I mean, upgrade your phone. Like, if you don't have the latest iPhone, if you're using an iPhone, I use an iPhone 14 Pro and I shoot a lot of content with that phone. And it looks incredible. And then there's cinematic mode and other modes in it that really makes it seem like I have an expensive camera. Now, you could get a great DSLR and all that other stuff too, but honestly, you can do so much with your phone. You need a tripod. Mm-hmm. You need a great phone. You need earbuds, and then you should get some lighting. Mm-hmm. At minimum a ring light, but some kind of lighting just to kind of make sure that people can see you clearly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the foundation. As long as they can see you clearly, hear you clearly, then you create the content and you've got a quality product that people are looking forward to. Like Mario, you've shared so many strategies, and I'm literally taking mental notes now. You know, I'm going to be applying many of these. I'm going to check out that app that you mentioned. But I will say this, as we close and wrap it up, Natalie, with all of that he just shared, what's your call to action? What's the first step you're going to start taking?
My first step is to work with you to create a reel. We got to get the 90-second highlight reel. So however that works, we need to
pin it up there, right?
And pin it up there. That has to happen by the end of the month.
As a small business owner and entrepreneur, it's very important that you're using social for the right reasons. And the right reason for you is to generate income, generate interest, and generate activity. So how can you make sure that you're getting the right return on your effort? I believe that using social requires you to think about the outcome first. What is the outcome that you would like to receive? What's the goal? Do you want to be known more in a particular industry? Do you want to create new collaborations with people you normally don't have access to? Are you looking to generate sales? If that's the goal, then once you understand the goal, then you can start making moves with social towards that goal. So for example, everybody with social should always have a call to action with whatever post you're doing. Now, you don't want to come off salesy. That's not the point. But the point is, today's call to action could be to go download a free resource. Tomorrow's call to action could be to go visit my online site. The next day could be something different, but you want to give people and you want to train people that you give something of value and then you want them to go do something with that. Number 3, you want to make sure that you're looking at automation. How can I automate not only creating the content, so you could look at tools like ChatGPT and others for AI development, but then you're also looking at how do I automate the back-end process so that I'm getting the return on the investment? Do you want to direct someone to your website? Are you using things like ManyChat and others where you can have people put in a particular comment into a post or a DM and then it automatically sends them a link or a DM to something that you have of interest for your business? These are the things that when you start thinking strategically, number 1, what's my goal? Number 2, after I identify my goal, what's my call to action? And number 3, after I get that call to action, how do I automate? If you could really think about those 3 things, you'll have much more success with your social media strategies, building your business. Now get out there and do it. Let's go.
There's an old saying that says you can't stop a person that never gives up. But when I think about Black Worldschoolers Mobile Bookstore and the person behind that movement, Natalie Pipkin, she is an individual that will not give up. And with that in mind, I'm extremely excited about how this idea has turned into a movement, and ultimately how this movement that she is fueling with her passion is going to scale to a completely different level.
For me, I already saw this way before, right? And then I'm still not in it. Like, my kids just like, have you celebrated yet? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm making it happen, and I'm like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. This is what I imagine. This is what, you know. But when I look back and I see that every little detail that the company I work with is able to create, when I see the people who were crowdfunding with us, who added to the crowdfunding, who are on the bus, like, you did it. Like, when I look back at videos and pictures, it's like, it's mind blowing to see something that was in my head that nobody else could see come to life.
Ooh, today's gonna be my day. I'm on my way. When my feet hit the pavement, I make a statement. Ooh, I'm good with me, and I'm where I'm supposed to be. Life's what you make it, so make a statement. Life's what you make it, so make a statement. Life's what you make it, so make a statement. Breathe and say my affirmations, putting out those good vibrations. I got that self-awareness, I'm in the me business. Beautiful, powerful, confident, strong. Doing my best and I can't do no wrong.
I feel like I've kind of always had to do a lot with it a little. And like, you know, from being in school, I had bands in the house. We did P90X for bricks sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, so I was kind of like, but again, at every phase, there was another level, you know? So as we're there and we're going, and I'm building it up, I can see it there, you know, and I can see myself in one person. I can see how I can have 5 people in there.